Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Comix-Watch, the one show on YouTube where we tell it like it is.
Yes.
And this week we take off. We are versus the world. We are reading Scott Pilgrim Volume 1. And man, oh man, is it bland.
The show or the book?
The book. We're primarily focusing on the book. But we will dedicate some time to
now,
to
to be clear, I admit that I acknowledge that this series has a lot of like hardcore fans and everything like that. Reading through it, there were some funny parts. Typically, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, so the way I come at this is I'm a fan of the movie. All right, I do generally love the movie, and I read this, and I gotta be honest, the movie actually did stick pretty close to this section of the book. I'll grant it that.
It did. The movie was a little bit more, I think, in terms of like more like attention grabbing, because there were significant parts of this book where like nothing happened, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just what it is for these kind of books. But like, I don't know why. It's like the movie had a lot of energy. I mean, Edgar Wright directed it.
Well, yeah.
But this one, while it's covering the same events, you have largely the same dialogue. The energy, while it's quippy, the energy is just not there. You know?
Yeah, I know. It was like, and I want to be clear, I still enjoyed what I read. It wasn't like I was reading it saying, I hate this crap. I can't believe Nick is forcing me to read this. Like, my favorite joke is when he's told that Ramona works for Amazon.ca, and he goes, "What is that, a website?"
Oh.
I was like, that was good. I like that.
That reminds me, cue the old jokes, Jared. That reminds me of this from you know the movie Armageddon.
Yeah.
There's this one was like, "Help! What's the number for 911?"
And then what you didn't see in that movie was the the dinosaurs running away from the asteroid about to hit the Earth, because Nick was actually there at those events.
Jared, you have not known bliss until you've had T-Rex meat. Oh my god!
I've heard it's good. I hear it tastes like chicken, oddly enough.
No, that's only if you go through Stargate.
Nice. I love that one. But yeah, so with this,
he understood the reference.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. It was interesting. This is one of the occasions, the rare occasions when the movie's better than the book. I gotta be honest with that, and that's kind of the theme of this.
Yeah, and like the thing you gotta know about like the movie and the book, and this is something that like the Scott Pilgrim Takes Out Defenders are blatantly ignoring, is the movie was being developed in tandem with the book. So, but when they were developing the movie, the last few books hadn't come out.
Oh.
So, the movie and the books actually influenced each other. So, like elements from the movie actually ended up in the books.
That's cool.
That's why the movie, like, so from what I've been told, the movie has a slightly different ending, because by the time they're making the movie, the last book hadn't even come out yet.
Ah, that makes sense.
So when everyone says like, "Oh, the movie is so different," like, yeah, it kind of has to be. Like,
yes, but the thing I do like is that I do enjoy the art style, because again, and this is something I say on Indie Wednesday all the time, it fits the tone of the book. It's very cartoony, and this book reads like a cartoon, and that's not a knock at all. That's the tone that this book is going for, and I think it hits it.
Yeah, I would say Brian Lee O'Malley really nailed the indie aesthetic. Like
Mm-hmm.
so many like Western creators try so hard to be anime and manga, and so few actually succeed. And from an art perspective, I would say Brian Lee O'Malley is as close to like manga as a Western artist has ever gotten.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because the art is very high energy and like all the fight scenes and everything like that. It's very like the character's age and everything. It looks it reads like a manga, except you can read it left to right.
Yeah. And like the books were released in a manga digest format. It's obvious they were trying to go for that crowd. The book was originally in black and white, you know.
Yeah, I got the color edition.
Oh, because you're fancy.
Mm-hmm. Hardcover. I'm so bougie. That's the first time I've ever used the word bougie on this show.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there because that's not it's not this kind of podcast, brah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's good things about it for sure. But overall, just you know, honestly, it's a bit of a disappointment. Jared, if you had to give it a score, what would you give it?
In terms of like, it's the way I rate things is that did I enjoy it? So yeah, so I would give it about a 6 or 7 out of 10 because it was still a fun read. The art, I would say, for what it's going for, is a 10 out of 10 for what it's going for. Story, yeah, 6 or 7 out of 10, just because it's not typically my thing, but it's still entertaining.
All right, well, if we're gonna go segmented with this, which by the way, good idea, brother. Art, I would give it a 9 because it does what it needs to do. Story, I would give it a 4 because I just feel like the story is kind of a bit undercooked. Like the idea is cool, the execution is a bit wanting, to be fair. Okay. Overall, I would give it a 6 as well. Yeah, very below average. Like cool idea, but
it's one of those ideas that sounds good on paper, but in execution, it's a little lacking. Now, let me ask you this, Nick. I still wish that they had gone in this direction for the show, because here's the thing, and Nick and I have not watched the show. We don't plan on watching the show, but the thing about it, but sorry, Nick, I know exactly what you're going to play, and go ahead.
So basically, I was really hyped for the show. So we're going to transition to ranting about the show because I need some stuff to get off my chest. But this was basically my reaction when I heard about the twist, which we'll get there.
Fair warning. Mano y mano, 7 evil, blah, blah. This is... What? This is boring. Delete.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and by the way, since I'm not as invested in this IP, I'm approaching this as a fan that wants their comics and their favorite IPs to be properly represented, because Lord knows, Halo, I have been let down in the past.
What, you don't want your shows to get cheeky?
God damn it, Nick. But the thing about this is like...
Wait. Before we go any further, we're going to issue a big fat spoiler warning. So if you don't wish to be spoiled for Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, please click off now. You've gotten your review of the book. We're gonna review give our thoughts on. We haven't watched the show, but we're gonna give our thoughts on it. So spoiler alert. Okay, we're assuming that anyone who didn't want to be spoiled is gone. I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off. Scott dies in the first episode,
which is stupid because. And Nick, you summarized it perfectly. They pulled a Kevin Smith He-Man.
Yeah, like this is a problem. I've been very, very open about this ever since I heard it. So basically what happens is the first episode is played straight, but when he's fighting Mike Matei, he dies. And the rest of it is Ramona fighting the evil exes, blah, blah, blah. And here's the problem with that. If they'd done a Ramona Flowers series where it's like, yeah, this is an alternate timeline, you know, if they'd just been upfront about it, you know what? I probably would have watched it, you know?
Because what they could have done is keep the first show like regular Scott Pilgrim and then launch a spin-off show about Ramona. There you go.
Or even just do the spin-off, but be open and honest about it. Because here's because if you just look up at the advertisements, they're blatantly deceptive. The advertisements are blatant in the fact that they're trying to hide this.
To the point where maybe they could be brought up for false advertising, because here's the thing. The show is called Scott Pilgrim. And Scott Pilgrim is only in like 1 or 2 episodes of the entire first season. And I'm like, okay. The thing about He-Man...
But Jared, it's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. You should have known that from the title.
Yeah, but Nick, here's the thing about the He-Man show, because I watched that entire thing. The thing about the He-Man show, he showed up in more than 1 episode.
Yeah, but it's still...
No, I know we're still a bait and switch, but it's better than what they did here. Because with at least the show is not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's just called Masters of the Universe. So I'm like, okay, at least you're kind of being direct. With this, no, it is blatant. It's called Scott frickin' Pilgrim Takes the World. I mean, or like it takes off. Exactly.
So here, if I were to guess, here's exactly what I think their plan was. Market it as a merging of, we're going to be more accurate to the comics. We got the movie cast, so like we're doing best of both worlds. And then we're going to release the show. Everyone's going to be shocked, and people are going to be already too invested. They're going to keep going. And then like the controversy is going to get us clicks and whatnot. Like I would bet a significant amount of money that's what their plan was. And
the problem is,
I hope it backfires on them. And I wish for the show to crash and burn. What I don't wish is any harm upon the creators.
No, absolutely not.
I just want to make this blatantly clear. I do not like the direction of the show. I do not like the directions the creators took. I do not wish any harm upon the creators. I do not wish any misfortune upon them. I wish for the show to fail. I do not wish for the artist to fail. I wish the artist a long and happy, successful life. It just sucks that you got to make that distinction nowadays, but I'm doing it anyway.
The thing about it is they're operating on an old, like, Hollywood, because Hollywood's starting to realize that bait and switches rarely work, and pissing off a fan base of an IP is a horrible idea.
It's almost like I did a live stream about this very thing last Friday.
Yes, the pendulum is swinging both ways as a reference to that.
Yeah, and like if you noticed, I feel like it premiered. There was like controversy for 3 days, but now no one's talking about the series.
No one's talking about it. It's not like with He-Man, because He-Man, everyone talked about that for months. With this, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so pissed off. Anyway.
Yeah, because here's the thing that like here's the thing where the Scott Pilgrim people miscalculated. The fan base is niche as it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem with Scott Pilgrim. It has a fan base and it's passionate, but the problem is it's segmented. I would say about 60% of the fan base are movie only people.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly. And if you're marketing it to the because the shows seem to be marketing toward the comic book people. I mean, how they recreate the art style.
I would say they were marketing to both. At least I'm going off of the marketing, because the fact that they brought in the movie cast says that they were trying to bring in the movie people, you know?
Yeah, but the issue is, again, so yes, you make an excellent point. You're dealing with a very, very, very niche IP. This isn't like adapting a Marvel comic or a DC comic. No, this is...
I mean, even Master of the Universe has a larger fan base, because Master of the Universe is a lot older property, and it has more people that love it. Master of the Universe was as mainstream as you can get back in the 80s. But even though it's been like 30 years since it was mainstream, it still has a lot more people who like, oh, I remember watching He-Man back when I was a kid. Let's do it now. Let's show it to my kid, you know?
And that's the thing. And even Kevin Smith acknowledged in the aftermath to that show that the fans were pissed off. He did a live stream about it. And that tells me it was significant enough backlash that they actually had to acknowledge it. The thing about this is like,
well, it took a while for him to acknowledge it. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the point is that did happen. And the thing about that is, and with this, what the creatives in this are going to learn. See, here's my problem with a lot of creatives / fans. If they're a fan of something, they act like everyone is a fan of that project. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, that's not true. There's some stuff I like that Nick hates. There's a lot of stuff that he doesn't like that I don't like. But it's
like whenever you talk about Call of Duty, I'm like, I'm just going to zone out for about 5 minutes while you talk about it. Let him talk about his Call of Duty. Like, and you're the same way. Like whenever I go on and on about Power Rangers, you're like,
Vampire. No, I like Power Rangers. It's more like whenever you go on about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Well, you see, Jeanette is a really cool kid. Like, it's just oh, we lost him.
My first walk off on the show. But the thing is like, I ran into this a lot with the Superman fan base because when I was trying to defend Zack Snyder's take on the character, and that's our obligatory reference of Zack Snyder, I always say about how Superman was not the big character he is today in the general audience because of this. And they're like, no, he's not. He was super iconic and all that stuff. They're trying to act like, because they're massive fans about this IP, they're everyone else is. Now, where am I going with this? What I'm trying to go off of is that the creatives behind the show maybe were fans of this IP, but the point is, it was like they thought that because they liked the IP, and this is my tin hat, that if they screwed it up, they would get enough eyes on it because of the outrage, because they think it's like a mass outrage.
The thing is, Brian Lee O'Malley is like the lead writer of Takes Off, the creator of the book. So you got to take that into account. Like, I was reading some stuff where like he didn't like the reception to Ramona. Like, here's the thing about the book you wrote, Brian. Like, both Ramona and Scott are toxic people. They're kind of a-holes. And that's what you wrote. Like, the whole thing about Scott Pilgrim is he's kind of an a-hole, and he learns to be less of an a-hole throughout the series. That's what's compelling about the book, is Scott is an anti-hero at best. He's kind of the villain of the story. If you like that, like
Scott, if someone takes Scott Pilgrim and draws the Punisher skull on him.
I mean, in the movie, there are scenes where he's literally wearing like a cartoon skull shirt. So
yeah, there you go. But yeah, and that's the thing. He dates a high schooler, cheats on that high schooler with someone else. Yeah, that's D-bag behavior.
And even all of his friends groups are like, Scott, you're like the worst. Like, they're calling him out on it. Like, the story does not, like, it does not reward him for dating high school. Like, the story makes it like this. Like, yeah, like I said, the story has good hooks. Like, I get why it's popular, but sometimes I think Brian and Leo, like, because you got to remember, this book will be 20 years old come next year. Mm-hmm. Brian Lee O'Malley wrote it 20 years ago. Like, I'm just like, he's a completely different person than he was back then, you know? Mm-hmm. So,
plus, I gotta be honest, it could be a lot of this is that Netflix money, because here's what you gotta understand about a lot of creators in the comic book industry right now. A lot of the times their books are pitches for Netflix series.
I mean, yeah, that is very much something a lot of people are pretending to do. I mean, hell, Berserker, that was its intention, and Berserker's intention, the Keanu Reeves one, was meant to be pitching for a movie. I think they actually are making a Berserker
are making a movie, which I'm like, hell yes, an immortal John Wick. That's what I call it. But it's like that's the thing, and I'm like, I get it, and I like that you're. The problem is he's marketing it as, look, it's the adaptation. It was the adaptation because I thought they were going to be adapting at least the first volume of the book. Then I hear that spoiler, and I'm like, I had just I'm gonna recreate what happened. I had just completed the book. I was like, okay, so let's see this. Then you sent me the thing on Twitter, and I'm like, maybe am I missing a chapter? Did something happen? It's like in the beginning, he doesn't die.
Yeah, like when I first heard it, I thought it was like one of those like Twitter like rage bait posts, like one of those misinformation things, and then so I double checked it. I read a couple articles and it confirmed he does, and I kind of I raged. I did a Twitter rage.
Yes,
the problem I have is the people that are coming out and trying to defend this. They're kind of doing some gaslighting. Honestly, like I don't know how many articles where the headline was, "Oh my God, look at this amazing twist!" Like yeah, it's a bait and switch, but that's a good thing. So,
and the other thing is that even if it is a bait and switch, and even if it's a good twist, it's been done to death so many times in other shows at this point.
Jared, I actually have behind the scenes footage of the Netflix people.
I didn't know you were that well connected like I am.
Hey, everything comes hashtag full circle.
Did you say hi to Brian for me?
He owes me $5. I got to chase him down.
Oh man,
anyway,
don't worry. He owes me $10.
So this is what the Netflix people were saying to Brian Lee O'Malley. You know exactly what I'm about to play, but like when in the meeting,
the ticket and make a name gay.
You come on, admit it. You knew exactly.
That's appropriate right there.
You knew exactly how the clip I was leading up to. So
I love how Clownfish did a video about now because of that skit. Kathleen Kennedy is a joke in Hollywood.
Well, okay. Quick aside, I think we all of us knew she was, but now it's okay to actually admit it. Like that's the thing that South Park did. They actually made it okay to criticize her.
Which okay, that's that would actually be a great stream for a great for frenzy topic. But anyway, it's the thing about like. So again, I mean. The fact that the original writer of the show, of the book, is like heavily involved with the show, yeah, that's cool. I just don't get why he feels the need to change it. If it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't know. I think he did it because of the reaction to Ramona. I mean, let's be honest. The 2010s were defined by a lot of Ramona Flowers wannabes. And I never miss an opportunity because they saw Ramona Flowers and felt so empowered.
But that's the thing. You could still not kill Scott off in the first episode and still like make Ramona Flowers a more tolerable character.
Yeah.
False advertising is false advertising, brother. I'm sorry. That's not the way this does work or should work. It's just astounding.
Yeah. But I think we've ranted enough here. Let's kind of wrap it up. Jared, what are your final thoughts?
The book it's enjoyable. It was enjoyable for what it is. I knew going in what I was in for. And at least it has some pretty good art to look at. The writing was but everything else was pretty good. In terms of the show, I really hope, I hope the IP, I hope the show fails, not the creatives. I don't want anything bad to happen to the creators because oftentimes it's not their fault either. They're doing a job. But I hope this teaches Hollywood a lesson. This continues because with the Marvels failing and all of this failing, ultimately Hollywood's going to have some very hard conversations with all this stuff.
And that's going to happen sooner rather than later. So, Jared, thank you. And this is Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it.